Psalm 127, a song of degrees for Solomon. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows.
Bill, the girls and I are done reading now.
Okay.
For so he giveth his beloved sleep. Lo, children are a heritage of the Lord.
Love you, Daddy. 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 Love you, Dad. Love you.
Love you too, girls.
Daddy.
And the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of the mighty man, so are children of the youth.
My name is Bill Gieshel, and this is my wife, Christy, and we are parents of 10 beautiful children. We homeschool them, and it's something that we enjoy as a family, being able to be closer together. And when we were first married, we talked about, well, maybe 4 or 5. We never really thought about having more children than that.
It wasn't long before we had our first, who was a daughter, and then our second born was a son, and we had some brief conversations about maybe we should be done. So many people we knew stopped after just a couple, and he was not making a lot of money, and my income was not coming in anymore. I stayed home with the kids. But then the pregnancy with our fifth was a very rough pregnancy, and the delivery was really hard. Bill decided, I think we should be done. He made an appointment for surgery for himself. And I told him, I said, I don't have a peace about this. I don't know why. And so he put off the surgery for the third time. And I remember coming to him and saying, Bill, we don't have to make this decision. We can just let God continue to bless us. It was just such a beautiful thing to think that, wow, we can just let God bless us, and just to see over and over in the Bible how children are called blessings and rewards.
It then became my own conviction after hearing that. If I were to picture life without whoever the last child was that was born, I think there's so much there that I would have missed. I work at a fabricating company, kind of a normal job. And in my mind, I'm thinking, how am I gonna continue to provide for these kids? Because at that time in 2003, it was tough times. I was working anywhere from 5 to 20 hours a week, and I didn't know what it was gonna be the next coming week. And Actually, 8:30 in the morning, Christy was writing out checks for bills that we needed to pay, and we didn't have the money in the bank. And she prayed and said, Lord, you say you're going to take care of us. We need it now. And she got a phone call at 11:30 that very day from one of the elders from our church. And I didn't ask anybody for any help. We didn't tell people, hey, we're struggling, we need people to help us or anything like that. And he brought out an anonymous gift. It was an envelope that was inside of a box, and it was 3 times the amount of money that we needed to pay those bills, but then it ended up being the exact amount we needed for the next 2 weeks to pay those bills. And then after that, things started picking back up at work. And after that point, I said, I'm not going to worry about anything anymore. I mean, as long as I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, God just proved that He's there to take care of us. And so I'm not, I'm no Superman or anything, but I've just kind of tried to be more in tune with things that I can do away with, kind of more dying to self and more serving those who He's entrusted us with. And so there's been times where you think, okay, if we didn't have all these children, and Christy was working another job, boy, yeah, maybe we could go on some cruises here or there or whatever, and have a bigger fancy house, whatever it is. But I just feel like we would be more empty with that. I don't look at the things and get the enjoyment out of those as I do just being around my children and receiving a hug from them, and just seeing their faces and the joy when they go through things or receive joy in their heart and how they show it.
This house that we're living in was originally a chicken coop, and we had nowhere to go. We did have 10 children, and nobody wants to rent to a family with more than 2 or 3 kids. We also had animals, and we couldn't purchase a house because he had his own business at the time, and we hadn't had it long enough that he could get a mortgage, or the bank wouldn't help us at all. So we prayed about it. We just didn't know where we were going to go. And a friend of ours offered us the house and the 2 acres of agriculture land. And it was like the price of a really cheap car. I mean, it was really cheap. We were able to buy it, and the whole place needed to be gutted and rebuilt. And people would just keep bringing us stuff, whether it was gallons of paint they didn't need or tile that they never used. I started calling it the House of Many Blessings because, like, weekly people were bringing us stuff. Hey, can you use this? We got this. We don't need it. And it was just beautiful to see how God provided. And I just really feel like we don't need to worry. God does provide. There's so many times that people can worry, what if I have more kids? How are we going to afford them? But if you're following what God wants you to do, He's going to provide and make a way for you to do it. You might not live in a mansion, but He's going to provide for the needs that you have. I get a lot of comments from people that say, I can't imagine having 10 kids, and I always tell them that the 3rd was the hardest. And I've heard that from a lot of other big families, that having 3 was the hardest. And part of that is because usually with the 3rd, all 3 are still very young, and you're doing everything for all of them. By the time we had our fourth, our first was 5 years old. She was right there helping with everything. And then, as each one came after that, I still always had that older helper. And then the next ones got older and I had more older helpers. It is so much easier. And even when the 10th was born, I had one who was driving, and it was totally different bringing a 10th one home than the first, second, or third. When you have a large family, at least in our experience, everyone helps out. If anybody wants to own an animal, they take care of it. We've got a yard full of animals, and I don't do anything with them. I do buy the food, but that's it. They get up early, they take care of their animals, they take care of their sisters. We kind of have a buddy system going on. Older one buddied up with a younger one, and the older ones help the younger ones learn. And there's no way I could physically take care of everything that needs to be done.
Today I was in the chicken coop because we were checking on the chicks, and a brown chick was missing.
Oh,
It died. It's the tan one. Yeah.
I'm sorry. One of the little ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the small.
They're normal human siblings. They do have their squabbles here and there, but really they enjoy each other, and they can't imagine life without each other either. We've talked about if we had stopped after number 5, and half of our kids wouldn't be here with us, and it would be so different. I just really love having them around, and God calls debt a curse and children a blessing. And America is pretty good at applying for curses and cutting off their blessings. And there's been quite a few times that the children have wanted something and we couldn't buy it. And so they had to wait until they could work towards making the money, whether that was helping us with things or having little jobs here and there for other people. And they did learn. I mean, they enjoyed those things so much more when they had to work for it and weren't just given things.
In speaking of things that the kids would have, or things that they would desire, they have more taken an approach of be patient with the things that it is that they are wanting, and even thinking through, why is it do you want this? Is this beneficial to you? Is it beneficial to the family? And how can you go about getting that if you don't have the money to get it? Being able to accept even what God gives us, I think for guys in general, it is sometimes difficult to allow God to give you things and to receive blessing, because I think in many ways men are programmed as, hey, I'm going to provide, I want to, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it's humbling to see what God is doing and how He, He's on the throne, He's sovereign, He's there helping you, taking care of you. And I think it's just the all-around blessing that has happened because of that which, God has ordained as good, that we are functioning in that reality of allowing Him to work in our lives with the blessings. so don't trip over those. Keep your eye out for your target.
How about that one over there?
Sure. Take this arrow, put it right in there. There. All right, ready? Okay, let go. Oh, so close. You're getting better. Maybe next time.
My name is Jay Giacino, and this is my wife, Christy. We have 7 children. Our oldest is 15, our youngest is 8 months, and I teach at a Christian school in Georgia, and my wife teaches our children at home. And of course, I teach as well at home when I come home, and it's kind of a process that we just continue to do. And we started homeschooling with Bethany when she was just little. And
About 4 years old.
About 4, yeah. And so we've been doing that ever since, and it has been a great blessing for us, a great blessing for our family. I think that a lot of parents feel that they can't homeschool because they have been brought up in a culture where the education is left to the professionals. And so because they don't feel like they are a professional, they feel incompetent and unqualified for such a task. And I think other parents, if they stop listening to those voices and the culture that are telling them they can't or shouldn't, they would find the fact that they have children makes them qualified. It's like their certification papers, if you will. They're certified to teach. In fact, the Bible, I believe, gives them the responsibility to teach and train. In Ephesians 6, we see that fathers are supposed to train up their children in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. And fathers, of course, with their wives, the mothers, need to do that job. It's a responsibility. It's not something you can just opt out of.
Would you rather be a penguin with fat under your skin or with no fat?
Fat.
Yeah, is it cold?
Mm-hmm.
There's some more ice.
I'm gonna switch hands now.
No. Okay, let's let Esther try. Okay. So isn't it amazing how God put that layer of fat in the penguin to keep him warm because it's getting cold. Yep.
Feel the difference?
Ooh.
Do you want to be a penguin with this end or this? This one.
The fat one, right? Yes. That is why God put fat on a
That's the
penguin.
water. I'm not water.
Because you know when we read about the March of the Penguins and how they sit in the cold all winter long and they don't eat anything and they keep their eggs warm, they sure want a lot of this, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No kidding.
It's pretty amazing. The parent is uniquely qualified to teach a child. You've had so many years with a child that you know all about them, you know what their strengths are, you know what they're going to be good at, you know what their weaknesses are, what they're not going to be good at, you know what they need to work on a daily basis to improve, you know what motivates them, you know all about them. So it's a lot easier to get a crafted program for that particular kid. If that kid is really good in math, let him go, but work with him more on spelling because that's where his problem is. Whereas another kid might be just the opposite. Well, then you let them go in spelling and they just spell, and they can advance very quickly, but you work with them more slowly in math to get those concepts down.
Well, I think delegation is biblical in the sense that as the father, in Ephesians 6, as we just mentioned, you know, it's my responsibility to train up those children. Now, if I can't play piano, I don't know how to play piano, I've never played piano, but I want my children to learn piano. I can delegate that to someone else. The real issue is, who are you delegating it to, and what is their worldview, and what are they being taught? What are they teaching to the children? Is it something that is going to benefit the child? Is it a godly environment? I think that's the key question. And too many parents will delegate those responsibilities to people who do not share their worldview. And that's, that's a problem. Jesus said, if you look in Luke chapter 6, verse 40, when a student is fully trained, he will be like his teacher. And unfortunately, many parents will, send their kids, delegate that responsibility to people who do not think like them. Again, don't share their worldview, don't share the Bible as the common or as the foundational source of truth. And they act surprised, when their children don't turn out to have a biblical worldview and don't turn out to follow the faith that they have been brought up with. If I send my child to a public institution, public school, I don't know what's going on, and I can't just pull them out, if you will. I mean, I do have that freedom to pull them out, but most parents, of course, don't. They don't know what's being said, but they can, and if they're motivated, and they ought to be. As parents, when we have children, we find, at least I have found, perhaps I think many others as well, it's difficult raising children. However, when you see those children, you get a great sense of responsibility and a great sense of satisfaction in seeing them grow. And so that motivates me to teach. It motivates me to do the things that I'm supposed to do.
Teaching many grades at once is a big challenge. I must say that is one of the biggest challenges I have teaching homeschool. The second biggest challenge is what to do with babies and toddlers who aren't in school yet, who are messing up the school day. And when somebody needs attention out of the room, somebody who's little, a baby or a toddler, then sometimes things just stop, and you can't let it train wreck your day. You have to get back and say, okay, now I know that we didn't do much math today, so let's do 3 more problems and then we'll move on. And we did some math today, and but maybe we just didn't do a whole 45 minutes of math today because we had problems with the baby or something like that.
It's a growth process for the parent as well as the child. And we take the things that come up and the challenges that come up in a day as opportunities for growth. Growth for the child and growth for the parent.
Everybody grows.
And in the end, the organization that Christy is, that is required of her helps her to move up and become better. She becomes better through the process.
And each year I do school, there's added dimensions that weren't there last year, and it requires a new readjustment of everything that we did to find the new schedule. And if I run into problems, I go to the principal and we work out what the problem is. And
to be very clear, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's rewarding.
Very.
Nothing worthwhile really is easy. Things that are worthwhile, things that are valuable,
eternal,
things that are eternal, absolutely, require a lot of attention, require a lot of energy, require a lot of effort, require a lot of everything. And so that's part of the life process. And the scripture teaches us that we need to, whatever we do, we work at it with all of our might as working for the Lord, not for men. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to raise children for the Lord. And that's not a light process. And it's something we don't want to give over to someone else to do. Because at the end of the day, I'm responsible for how they turn out. Now, I'm not going to blame the teacher at the public school, for my child not turning out, if you will, a certain way. Now, every child has their own will, their own ability to make decisions, and we can be perfect parents. Adam had a perfect parent in that sense of God. I mean, God was his parent, right? And Adam still rebelled. So it's not like a child doesn't have that ability to rebel or make bad choices or bad decisions, but the parent has a lot of ability, God-given ability, to shape how their child develops and what they will become in the end. One of the things I appreciate about being able to put a lot of time into raising the children is that we specifically teach them to get along with one another. Now that's a challenge. And there's a lot of a daily challenge. It's not just a one-time fix and everything's perfect. But we really like to spend time together. That's a critical thing, and when we do, we have a lot of fun. Even memorizing the Bible, we have some of the most fun times memorizing Bible verses. We do that around the table, and someone will accidentally say the wrong thing, and everyone giggles and laughs, and we just have a grand old time. And so that time of being together around food or in activity is something we try to develop. We look for opportunities to do that sort of thing.
Sing hallelujah, praise to Jehovah, worship the God of Abraham. Sing hallelujah, praise to Jehovah, once for all is slain, God's perfect lamb.
You guys look like tacos? Try to not too much. Yeah, but I'm not good.
They're typical kids. They do love to play, and a lot of play goes on at our house. We typically in the morning, we do school right off the bat, and we try to get our schoolwork done. The little ones I try to keep them right on task so that they can be done by lunchtime, because after lunchtime, they've got to get their energy out and they just need to be released to go play. So I try to really work with them, the littler ones and maybe the middle-aged ones, to get their work done by lunch. And then the older ones, of course, they've got a greater volume of work to do, so they have more schoolwork to do after lunch. But the playtime, it's fun to hear them laugh and play together, and they do everything really together. The big ones push the little ones on the swings and pull them in the wagons, and
little ones are happy to comply with that.
Little ones are happy to have the big ones play with them. So it's nice to see them playing together, and of course there are squabbles. They're typical kids. So we just deal with that as it comes up.
The more well-functioning they are, it's just a witness for Christ. And so we want our family to be a witness for Christ and not really anything else. So the credibility that I have is going to be gained through observation of my family, the relationship I have with my wife, and how the children are. Those children are a ministry. They're my first ministry, and they're a witness to others. So that if I want to reach the world for Christ, well, my starting place is my family.
We have a lot of fun being a big family. We have a lot of people to practice doing life with, and that's where they learn it, is from each other and from us. And I enjoy homeschooling, and I enjoy all of my children. I'm so thankful that the Lord has put me here and has given me a lot of children to take care of, because it is a blessing, and it's truly a gift from Him.